Hello guys, welcome back. So today we'll be drafting our sleeve block, our basic sleeve block. This is the sleeve you use on your dresses, your tops, your jumpsuits and the rest. The only one that is different from this is the one you use for jackets, and that's the one piece sleeve jacket. But today's is for the basic sleeve block. Now let's get to it. So I'm starting by, I already folded my paper. I measured my sleeve width. I just measured for the pattern we already drafted, which is for size 12. The round sleeve is not more than 16, and this is 8, right? So that's why I folded it at the points, at the mark of 8 inches. I'm going to measure my sleeve length. This cardboard is at 25. I'll just leave it at that. Usually the sleeve length, long sleeve length should not be up to that, but it depends on the height of the person, right? So it's usually between 22 and 26, depending on how tall the person is. So I'm just going to leave this at 25. Now the next thing I'm going to do after I've gotten this crease is I'm going to mark the crease, so that, because we'll be needing the crease measurement. This will be the center of my sleeve here. So after that, I'll measure the depth of my armhole. We are still using our centimeter to measure, and the depth of the armhole is 14 cm. I'll mark it here, then I'll come here to mark my 14 cm, and come here to also mark my 14 cm, and then I'll rule. So the next thing I'm going to do is measure my top of arm. Top of arm is you will find what top of arm is in the measurement video. There's going to be a measurement video that you must have already watched before you're watching this. So you already know what your top of arm is. Top of arm for this pattern is 12 inches, right? So my 12 inches, I'll divide it into 2. That will give me 6. Then I'll add my seam allowance. Whatever your seam allowance is, either half or 1 inch. So I'll be using ½ inch. That will bring my measurement here to 6.5, and my measurement here to also 6.5. Then after that, I'll join this point to the center of my sleeve and to the other point. Now we have to label our pattern. One has to be the back, while the other is the front. You're going to know the reason for this later as we go on. So I'm going to connect my back point to the middle of the sleeve, and I'll do the same for the front, right? So we have the front here and we have the back here. And for the elbow, you can measure yours, but usually the elbow will be around 12 to 13 inches. I'm going to be using 13 inches in this case. So I'll come here so that my line can be balanced. I'll come here to measure the same 13 inches and also come here to measure the 13 inches. Then I'll rule. This will give me my elbow point, and then this will be my cuff point, my cuff area, right? Then I'll come here and measure my elbow, take my elbow measurement. For the elbow, the upper part is 12 inches, here is 11, and here will be 9. So I'm going to divide 11 by 2, which will give me 5.5, plus my seam allowance. Remember, I added half here, so I'm also going to add the half here, and I'll take 6 inches here and 6 inches here. Then I'll come here, that is the hem. The hem is 9 inches, you can do 10 depending on the design of your sleeves, right? So here is 4.5 on this side, plus the seam allowance, that will make 5 inches. That will make 5 inches, but I can extend it and make it, no, I'm not going to make 5.5. I'll leave it at 5 inches. Then I'll come here and do the same and measure 5 inches. So I've already measured the fitting of my sleeve from the upper arm to the elbow and to the hemline. Then I'm going to connect them. I'm not going to be using a ruler because, you know, our hand is not completely straight. It's not straight like a ruler, it has curves. So it's better for it to be curvy like that so that it can be smooth. So I'll use this side of my French curve to connect this line to this line, and then change it to this side to connect this to this. I'll do the same here. And also change it to connect this to this. Great. So now we want to draw the final seam line of our armhole. I'm going to be dividing this into 4 places. So I've turned it to my inch side of the tape measure. From point B, which is the back, to the center of my dart pattern is 8.5 rather. So I'm going to be dividing this into 4 places. First, I'll get the half, and the half is 4.25, which is here. Then I'll get the half of the half. Then I'll get the half of the half, which will be 2.1. And then come here and get the half of the half also, which will also be 2.1. Then I'll do the same here. The measurements are usually the same, so 4.2, 2.1, and 2.1. Yes. So now on the back, you need to pay attention here because the measurements are slightly different. I'll turn back to my centimeter side of the tape measure, and on the back from the point closest to the center, I'm going to measure 2 cm up. Then here, so I've measured 2 cm up. Here I'm going to leave it as it is. Then here I'm going to take 1 cm down. Can you see 2 cm up? Here we're leaving it as it is, and here 1 cm down. So I'll come to the front side and I'll take the same 2 cm up as I did on the back. Then here I'm going to measure 1 cm away from the second point, from the second notched point. Then I'm going to measure 1 cm down. Then here I'm going to measure 2 cm down. So I'll be using my French curve to connect them now. I'll start from here. I'll connect here to here, and then connect this to this. Then I'll turn my French curve and connect the two together. It should be a smooth connection, but if it's different for you, you just have to find how it will flow. Can you see? So this is how it goes. Then I'll come here to draw the other side of the sleeve. So from here, I'm going to connect to the point where it is 1 cm second notching, because that's how the sleeve will go. Then I'll come here and do the final connection, making sure that it passes through the 2 cm mark. The reason is because the front, your chest part goes in deeper than the back. That's why there's this difference. If you want your sleeve to sit well on the body of your dress, whether a dress or a top or whatever, it's imperative for your armhole to not be too wide. And then if you notice that there's any angle that is not smooth, you can smoothen it out with your French curve. You already know the reason why I'm using this marker is for the purpose of this training, so that what I'm doing can show clearly on the white cardboard. But when you're drafting yours, it is very advisable to use a pencil, an HT pencil preferably, and this will help you to see how your pattern is very well. I would like to cut this out so that you can see clearly how the pattern is. I'll cut this, and I'll take it through the curved area like this. You can see where I have to smoothen it out. And then I bring it here. Right. And here you have your straight long sleeve pattern. So now you already know if it's a 3/4, if it's an elbow length sleeve, you cut it here. If it's 3/4, you measure where the 3/4 will get to and cut it. If it's long sleeve, you have the long sleeve. If it is short sleeve, you have the short sleeve. Cap sleeve, you cap it here. If you want to, we will do all of that when we are doing sleeve styling, right? Sleeve pattern manipulation. But this is the basic sleeve you need and require for all of your bodies and your dresses and all of that. And you can manipulate it in whatever design you want to do. Whatever it is, bell sleeve, lantern sleeve, hero sleeve, Rihanna sleeve, any kind of sleeve you want to make, you can achieve it using this basic sleeve block. And I'll be showing you that in the other modules. I hope to see you there.